You referenced the MMA earlier, and I was watching what fight was I watching? I was watching one of Israel's older fights when he was a kickboxer.
Yeah.
Um and it suddenly hit me that the MMA, and this is probably true for a lot of other sports, but the MMA, for you to be successful in that ring, you have to have a good grasp on reality.
Oh, yes, exactly.
You can't. It's so obvious to me when you see people who emerge as champions. This is beyond going to the gym and punching every day. This is beyond lifting weights. This is beyond making weight. This is beyond steroids. This literally is a game of your mind being able to create or an environment where you can actually go into the ring and perform.
Yes.
And you have to be aware of what you can do, what you can't do, the limits of you have to be in tune with all that, or you will just get beat up.
You have to have a high level of conscious awareness, because you have to be able to manipulate. Like, it's basically, and this is why I like Evangelion so much. This is why Evangelion is so profound to me.
I haven't seen Evangelion, man. You keep saying it.
It's so profound, man, because the whole point is they're using literal metaphor. In Evangelion, it's about a kid who is who is piloting a giant biological computer that he has to be able to synchronize with, so that he can manipulate it to actually like perform and fight these angel monsters. And so his whole, like, he is a subsystem, the consciousness part, he's a subsystem within this larger system, the Evangelion, and the Evangelion is a biological computer that he has to synchronize with. What does that not sound like what it means to be human? It's a literal metaphor of existing. And so you can imagine that you are piloting an Ava. Like, that is basically reality. You're piloting an Ava, and you have to know, like, to be consciously aware is to know how to program the Ava to perform how you want it to perform. And so you have to have a model of the Ava. You have to know, okay, when I think, like, think about when you're manipulating your own mind to go from happy or sad. You can manipulate it through thought, what you imagine. So just a good example, and I know this example is a little crass, but imagine like the classic comedy of a teenage boy who is asked to go in the front of the classroom and he has a boner, right? So now he has to go in front of the entire classroom, and he's like, I need this thing to go down. I can't have this thing up when I walk up in front of the class. And so what do you start thinking of? You start thinking of baseball. You start thinking of anything non-sexual as possible to make that thing go away. And so it's that level at which you're trying to manipulate yourself when you're trying to do pretty much anything. And so when you're trying to manipulate yourself to go into a world championship and fight some monster like Alexander Volkanovski, that dude's mind is so rock solid. It's like, how do you penetrate that thing? And so being able to have that connection with your system, that synchronization with your Ava, so that you can go out there and perform through the anxiety and harness all that power and stuff like that, you have to have a knowledge of self to do that. You have to know how to pilot the Ava.
Yeah.